I, 27, female, have had a difficult relationship with my sister Laura, 24, female, ever since we were kids. She was the youngest child in our family, and she was clearly the favorite of my parents. Both my parents were working, so more often than not, I was left at home to take care of Laura while we were growing up. This meant that she stole a large chunk of my playtime. I was an average student at school, but I was a hard worker. Laura, on the other hand, was a brilliant student as she didn't have to put much work into scoring marks. So she would score better marks than me in classes that I had already passed. My mom would often compare our marks and tell her that I scored less than her while I was at that age. There are several such instances where our parents instilled a sense of competitiveness in Laura against me. With time, this competitiveness turned into a far more mean and bitter feeling toward me. My hard work paid off later in my life when I saw success after college in my career. But after school, my sister struggled in college and had a hard time surviving in jobs. This increased her bitterness towards me, and she resorted to bullying and teasing me at family gatherings. She had no boundaries with me and would often steal my belongings. Even after all her mistakes, she was still the golden child in our family, and I was the black sheep. She got everything she wanted, and I got nothing. I met my husband Mark while I was working after college. We hit it off instantly as I felt at home in his presence. I hadn't dated much before meeting Mark, but after spending time with him, I felt like this was the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. There was a certain warmth and care that you expect from your family. I never got it from my parents while growing up, but Mark made me feel the love and care of a family. When I got married to Mark, I thought I had finally found happiness. He treated me well and made me feel loved. We had a nice house, a cute dog, and a decent income. I thought we were perfect for each other. But 2 years into marriage, I discovered that there was an evil side to him. Mark was an avid gamer and he had many online gamer friends. A year into our marriage, I noticed that Mark was more involved in gaming than ever. He would stay up late at night to play, and often, by the time I woke up, he would still be gaming. I used to think that he was playing with different players each night, but from overheard conversations, I understood that he was playing with the same person each night, and I felt like it was a woman. One night I heard Mark talking to her about the last time they met, and I was shocked. I had never heard Mark mention anything about meeting his gamer friends in real life. But the conversation was not very audible, as it was in the other room. I asked Mark who he was gaming with, and each day he would come up with lies. But when I checked his profile, I could see that each night he was gaming with the same person. I saw my life crumbling down before me. I had to do something to see if my assumptions were right. So one morning, while Mark was still asleep, I took his phone and went through his text messages. I saw his chat with a woman who had a photo of my husband with her as the profile picture. I saw that the chat had been going on for the past 6 months. She lived in a different state and flew to our place thrice to meet my husband. They had spent nights together. But the most gut-wrenching part was that this poor woman didn't know that he was married. Throughout the chat, he pretended that he was single and living with a roommate. I felt bad for both of us. I took her contact details and saved them on my phone and decided to give her a call in the evening when my husband would be away. Instead of calling her right away, I texted her first and introduced myself. I showed her proof of our marriage and gave her time to emotionally process the information. After a while, we called each other. She was much younger than me and had met my husband while gaming. He told her that he was single and they started dating long distance. The most surprising thing was that she had come to meet him thrice during their affair, and she had met his friends. His friends played along with his lie that he was single. My husband introduced her to his friends as his girlfriend. The saddest part was that he had promised to marry her soon, so this woman had built her whole future upon the lies of a married man. But she was very strong and quick to act. She agreed to send me screenshots of their chats and proof of them staying together. She agreed to block him right away. but I told her that it was perfectly okay if she had to shout at him one last time before blocking him. But she just wanted him out of her life as quickly as possible. The most difficult part of this was confronting my husband without getting too emotional. I couldn't do it in person, so I moved out of our home that same evening and left him a text with screenshots from his AP. He tried to contact me multiple times, but I resisted. I filed for divorce immediately, but I didn't tell anyone the real reason for the divorce. I was too insecure to tell people that my husband had gone in search of another partner. It made me feel like people would judge that I was not enough. So I kept that to myself and told people that we had grown out of love over time. I had met my sister a couple of times while the divorce proceedings were happening, and she had always sided with my ex-husband. She didn't even know what the issue was between us, but she kept telling me how I was pushing away one of the best men in the world. I didn't want to engage with her much, so I left it at that. But a few months later, I got the information that my sister and my ex-husband were dating. They both made my life hell after that. They would both send me random selfies of them together just to annoy me. Once, I asked my ex-husband whether my sister knew the reason why we broke up. He told me that she didn't, so I threatened him that unless he stopped texting me, I would tell everything to my sister. I blocked him immediately and didn't have to hear from him ever again. My sister, on the other hand, couldn't stop rubbing the fact that she was dating my ex-husband in my face. She would often say how she had struck the jackpot by getting into a relationship with him. This became her new entertainment, and she would even get my mom to tease me. I would stay silent and suffer through all of it, but on the other side, I was building a friend group of my own. I went to therapy for a few months after the divorce. I had contact with my husband's ex-affair partner, and our relationship turned into a beautiful friendship. Almost a year and a half after the divorce, my birthday was approaching. I decided to celebrate this birthday because deep inside I felt like this was my second birthday after the entire drama, and I was finally feeling good enough to celebrate it. I invited all my friends and family to my house for the party. I planned it for the evening before my birthday. I made sure that my sister was not invited. I even invited my husband's ex-affair partner, Tanya. Tanya and I finally decided to meet after bonding over our relatable trauma for over a year. But one day, my mom sent me a screenshot of her text exchange with my sister. My sister had asked Mom whether I was having a birthday party. My mother didn't know that I didn't invite my sister, so she gave her all the information regarding the party. By the end of the conversation, my sister told my mother that she was planning to turn up with my ex-husband as a surprise for the party. My mother felt like it was incredibly rude for her to do that, so she texted me about it. I was devastated at first, but I decided to play my own game. I contacted Tanya and told her about my sister's plans and how I wanted to get back at her. My plan was simple. I chose my cheating husband as the theme for my birthday. I asked Tanya to send more screenshots of their text exchange. I took screenshots of all the texts that my husband sent me, begging me not to reveal his cheating to my friends and family. I took printouts of the chats and framed them like they were works of art and hung them all around the main room. There was a huge banner in the middle of the room that said, "Happy cheating, Mark." Tanya was present as well, so my plan was perfect. I knew that my sister was proud of having a loyal boyfriend, and this was going to be a blow to her face. On the evening of the party, most of the guests were surprised by the theme of the party, so I had to explain to them about it. We waited there for my sister and my ex-husband to arrive. My parents requested me multiple times to take it down, but I was stern. Tanya and I held hands together to welcome them when they arrived. When they came in, I could see the look of surprise on my sister's face, which soon turned into horror. She went through the screenshots, trying to hold back tears, and looked at me in disbelief. She then ran back towards her car, avoiding Mark. Mark was dumbstruck seeing Tanya and me together, and he felt ashamed at being out in front of a group of people. I was satisfied with the execution of the plan and celebrated my birthday in full glory. Am I the a-hole for revealing my ex-husband's past as a cheater to my sister since she started dating him? Update 1. My parents felt like I should have been a bit more considerate towards my sister. She has not picked up our calls since the incident. I have tried calling her multiple times. No replies. Update 2. I unblocked my ex-husband to see that he was still posting photos with my sister. I was surprised to see this, so I took a few screenshots. My sister has come online, but she's still ignoring my texts. I feel relieved to see that she's alive. Update 3. Even after 2 weeks, when I got no replies from my sister, I sent her screenshots of the posts made by my ex and told her that she shouldn't have continued dating him. She replied immediately, telling me that they had broken up, and thanked me for sending the screenshots. She called me a while later, and it was awkward. She apologized to me during the call, and I forgave her. Apparently, my ex was posting their old photos to make people believe that they were still dating. That is another reason to hate him. It's still awkward between us sisters, but I think we can work on it from here. NTA, cheaters belong on the streets, and you showed him where he belongs. That's the perfect way to expose a cheater. YTA, you had all this evidence and you still allowed your sister to date him? That talks a lot about you. You should have warned your sister about him much earlier. Next story. I am 30, female. I have a brother, Matt, 35, who has been with his girlfriend, Lexi, 33, for 2 years. Lexi has a daughter, Bella, 5. I have a daughter who's 3 years old. We all live in the same city, but Matt and Lexi live in the suburbs, and I live in the city center, so about 45 minutes away. While I see Matt on average every 3 weeks, I only see Lexi and Bella every 2 to 3 months at my parents' house or for occasions, gatherings. 2 days ago, I got a text from Lexi asking me to babysit Bella on Wednesday because she would not be at school due to teachers being on strike. She said she forgot about the strike and had not taken the day off work and had also made social plans for after her shift ended. I said no to babysitting and thought that was that. Yesterday, around lunchtime, I was having a skin treatment when one of my cleaners came to tell me that Lexi had dropped off Bella. The cleaner had answered the door, and Lexi had said she had arranged to leave Bella with us, and the cleaner was unaware this wasn't the plan and let her in. Lexi then left. I was livid. I immediately called Lexi, and after 4 declined calls and voicemails, I sent her a text saying if she didn't return for her daughter within 15 minutes, I was going to call the police to say she had abandoned her child. I find my husband to tell him what's going on, and he calls Matt and tells him to sort this out. A few minutes after speaking to Matt, Lexi reappears. She marched straight into the den where Bella is watching TV, saying how evil we were for telling Matt and threatening to call the police. I tried to get her to come and speak in the study so Bella couldn't hear, but she just kept going on. I reminded her that she intentionally abandoned her child, but she kept going on about how she was desperate and needed to go to this social arrangement and how she never had time to do anything. I reiterated that be that as it may, she can't just leave Bella with us when we didn't agree to it. Lexi kept bringing up excuses until my husband lost it and told her in no uncertain terms to leave. By this point, Bella was in hysterics and Lexi seemed totally frazzled. This has since turned into a big thing. Lexi has been posting cryptic things on social media about how hard it is to be a mother when people you expect to be there for you won't help you. I've received texts from her saying Bella is devastated to find out that we don't like her. I've now blocked Lexi. My parents have heard about it, and while my mother is firmly on my side, my dad said, was it really worth upsetting Bella when she was already there? Matt says that while Lexi was in the wrong, once she had left, we probably should have just kept Bella and argued about it later. Matt also thinks my husband owes Lexi an apology for intimidating her, which I don't think he does. NTA, you did the right thing calling Lexi to come get her kid. If you had let Bella stay, Lexi would think she could drop off her kid any time knowing that you would end up keeping her. No one owes Lexi an apology. It is her fault that Bella got so upset. NTA, that's the whole trick of dropping off kids and leaving. Your dad needs to wise up and shut up. Let Lexi know your dad has volunteered to have Bella illegally abandoned with him. Next story. I, female 19, live with my stepsister Nicole, female 20. We live together in a small 2-bedroom apartment whilst we both attend the same college. Our hometown is a small rural area that's around a 3-hour drive away. My dad married Nicole's mother around 11 years ago. Nicole and I know each other pretty well and have spent a lot of time together. We haven't always gotten along, which siblings have, but we do consider each other sisters. Anyway, on to the story. So me and Nicole both got sick of dorms and moved in together around 2 months ago. Back at home, Nicole never cooked for herself. Not beyond microwave meals anyway. And now that we're both supposed to be living independently, she started cooking. Nicole keeps forgetting to turn off the stove or oven when she's finished with them. At one point, this nearly caused a full-blown house fire when she forgot about the stove whilst a paper plate of hers had been left on top of it. I kept gently reminding Nicole to turn off the oven, stove, when she's done with them, but she just doesn't seem to listen. I even tried putting sticky notes around the kitchen to try to remind her. Eventually, Nicole got irritated with the reminders and told me I'm treating her like a child. I said I'm sorry if it came off that way, but she needs to remember. The problem has just kept persisting, and a near miss with the house fire happened again when Nicole forgot about the stove, and she didn't hear the smoke detector because she was blasting music on her AirPods. Luckily, I noticed it and was able to put it out. I tried to have a talk with Nicole and told her this needs to stop. Nicole just got mad before I could even suggest anything and told me to get off her case. She said I'm overreacting and that she can handle it. She refused to listen to anything I had to say and kept talking over me. This has started to make me really anxious, especially when Nicole is home whilst I'm out. I bought some plastic child locks for the knobs that control the stove and oven, and I placed them on there. I know Nicole can't open child-proof stuff. This way, she can't use the stove or oven when I'm out of the house. When I'm home, I can make sure nothing happens. Me and Nicole have similar class schedules, so this shouldn't inconvenience her too much. Nicole went apeshit when she noticed them and started screaming at me and told me I'm a control freak and bullying her. I yelled back at her and told her I wouldn't be doing it if she could act like a responsible adult. Nicole called me a bitch and said I have no business controlling when she gets to cook. She's now gone to a friend's place and has blocked my phone number. My dad and stepmother got concerned after getting texts from Nicole, and they kept messaging me about it, telling me I need to get Nicole to come back. Am I the a-hole? NTA, you are treating her like a child because she's acting as irresponsible as one. This isn't a little issue like leaving lights on or forgetting some house rule like keeping the bathroom door closed. This is a literal safety issue. You can burn down a house. She's too irresponsible to be using a stove. If she wants to be treated like a normal adult who's free to cook whenever she wants, then she needs to get her shit together and do it without nearly killing everyone in the house and burning it down. NTA, Nicole is an idiot and has proved herself unable to be trusted to use a stove on her own. What does she expect you to do? Ignore it to save her ego while she burns your place down? Personally, I would have kicked her out and found another roommate rather than putting safety locks on the stove. But either way, the main concern is avoiding your place being burned down, and you took the necessary measure. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.